But let me just begin by welcoming you. Welcome, Wayne State students. My name is Chris Lund. I'm a professor of law at the law school at Wayne State University Law School. And I'm excited to talk to you today about this new program that actually began this winter 2020, this minor in law program, whereby Wayne State undergraduate students can get a minor in law through courses in law taught by faculty from the law school at the law school. It's a very exciting program that offers a lot of opportunities, I think, to our undergrad students that aren't available at other schools and have never been available at Wayne before. And this program is a combination, is this interaction between the law school and between three schools, the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, the Business School, and the School of Social Work. And it's just a wonderful new program that we have that's a unique kind of thing. It's the only program like this in Michigan and in the Midwest, and there's only 2 or 3 across the country that are like this. So we're very excited to have it, and we have some great faculty teaching in the program, and a wonderful program administrator, Nikki Taylor Vargo, and she'll, I think, kick it off with, she'll set the agenda here and then also make some introductions.
Absolutely. Thank you, Professor Lund. So today we hope to cover some introductions. We're going to introduce you to a faculty member from the law school who will be teaching one of the law courses. And also I'm going to introduce you to the contact individuals at each of the schools in case you have any questions specific to your major. I'm going to talk a little bit about why individuals would decide to want to study law. And then we'll cover why would you want to minor in law at Wayne State University. And I think it's important to talk about what that connection is with your personal brand and how you can market yourself in the workplace. We'll also talk to you about the program requirements and what the next steps are if you're interested in pursuing the minor in law program. And then at the end, we will open the floor for some question and answers. So given the number of students that we have, we're anticipating, if you have a question throughout the presentation, if you wouldn't mind using the raise hand feature or even entering your question in the comment section, we'll make sure to address as many of those as possible as we go through. So with that being said, you've already met Professor Lund, who is our faculty director for the program, and myself. I will probably be interacting with many of you if you decide to enter into the program. And then last but certainly not least is Professor Hall, who will be talking with you a little bit later about his LEX 5000 course that will be taught this fall, and that is Law in Context. The other individuals that we want to make sure that you are familiar with are Alicia Ortez. She is the academic advisor in the College of Arts and Sciences. We also want you to know that Sylvana Evans would be the contact for the Ilitch School of Business. And then within the School of Social Work, we have Jeffrey Jones and Shantalia, who are both academic service officers that you may reach out to for any questions specific to the minor in law program through the School of Social Work. Again, as Professor Lund mentioned to you, I will go ahead and send you copies of these slides. So don't worry about making any notes or copying down information. I'll send this to you after the event. Now, with that being said, I want to talk a little bit about why do we desire to study law? And I'd actually like to open the floor at this time to let you go ahead and unmute yourselves and maybe kind of just throw out reasons why you might want to pursue the study of law. Can anybody give me some ideas?
I can start.
Thank you, Sydney. I was actually going to call on you.
So hi everyone, my name is Sydney Lockhart. I'm a junior. I'm majoring in accounting, and I picked up the law minor. I'm actually in LEX 5010 and 5020 right now. And I decided to get the law minor just because I was always interested in law and I didn't know if I wanted to go to law school. And it's a hard thing to study for. So I didn't know if I wanted to study for the LSAT, get to law school, and then it not be my thing. So I thought picking up the law minor would be a really good opportunity to get exposure, not just to how the courses are ran, but lawyers and attorneys in the legal field that could help me kind of make a decision. So that's one reason why I picked it up.
Excellent. And that's a very good reason, Sydney. Thank you. And actually, while I kind of have you on the floor here, would you mind making a couple comments about what your experience so far has been in your 2 LEX classes?
Yeah, so I'm not sure which is which. I'm in the law and harm. I believe that's 5010. And
yes,
then
it is. Yep.
The other one's legal procedure, which is 5020. And they're both interesting. It's been a lot of trial and error because this is the first time a lot of the law professors are teaching undergrad students. So it's been a lot of like, okay, well, our classes do it this way. I'm undergrad. Okay, well, you do it this way. What kind of middle ground can we find? But it's been very like discussion based, and I love that. I love just kind of learning about it and hearing everybody else's opinion, and especially with the whole pandemic going on right now. I know Professor Gable focuses a lot on bioethics law, so talking to him about everything and kind of hearing it firsthand from a legal perspective has been really beneficial. So it's a lot of discussions. It's writing, it's reading, that's law school, but it's fun. It's not like I'm sitting here reading 30 pages of nothing. It's interesting content, so I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sydney. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. I know I put you on the spot, so
no problem.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that want to share reasons for why they want to study law?
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm a freshman, coming in to be a freshman.
Hi,
And I just thought, since there isn't really like a specific major for law school, I thought the minor in law was really good to introduce me to it and kind of get to know what I'm getting myself into if I do go to law school.
Yep, excellent. Yeah. So this, just to clarify, the minor in law is for individuals who think they may want to go to law school and they kind of want to get their feet wet and find out what it's all about to help them make a final decision. But it's also for those individuals whose intent is to not necessarily go to law school, but just really kind of want to find out how law intersects with their educational discipline. And I think what you'll find is that there's a lot of overlap between all areas. Even as Sydney mentioned earlier in the law and harm class, the faculty who teaches that has kind of turned part of the class into looking at how COVID-19 pandemic is affecting the law and individuals while we're going through it. So is there anybody else that has any thoughts that they'd like to share?
Hi, my name is Kelsey.
Hi, Kelsey.
I am a business major. I'll be a senior this fall, and I'm just kind of looking into the minor in law in case it's helpful. I think that I might eventually have my own business. So
okay.
That would be kind of what my future, I guess, just seeing if it's something worthwhile. I don't necessarily want to go to law school, but just kind of to have like a little bit of background in law.
Yep, I completely agree with you. I think that is a very smart decision in regards to understanding the regulations that you may be needing to follow, things of that nature, kind of, understanding, you may have a law firm or a lawyer that you work with specifically, but really being able to speak their language, right? So that you understand. Absolutely.
Yeah, and not be confused.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Anybody else? No? I have to share this quick one and then I'll run through the list that I have. But when I was recruiting in the business school, I actually had a woman come to me and she was interested because she had a neighbor that was doing things to her lawn that she did not appreciate. So she wanted to become more familiar with what her options were. So I guess that just goes to show that there are many reasons why we might want to study law. But
yeah, this connects, I think, with the thing that I was going to talk about.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Let me just run through these really quick.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's okay. No worries. So obviously have a better understanding because we know that law affects every part of our lives. It's intellectually challenging, as Sydney mentioned earlier. It can financially be rewarding, certainly. There's growth and opportunity. Prestige that comes along with, being knowledgeable about the legal landscape. It's certainly a dynamic environment. And the other thing is that there are diverse perspectives. And I think, as Sydney mentioned earlier, in regards to how the classes are structured, that you have a lot of discussion and are able to share those perspectives with each other. It can personally be fulfilling. And I think the last, even though I wouldn't consider it least, I think a lot of people do pursue law because they want to advocate and help for others. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Professor Lund. I'm going to share my controls here with him.
There are a lot of reasons, I think, to engage and to do the minor in law at Wayne State, and that's what Nikki and everyone were talking about. So these are the slides have some of the reasons too, right? These are connections across disciplinary boundaries. This is a joint program between the law school and the College of Liberal Arts and Science, business school, school of social work. We'll have students from these different colleges, and there'll be connections that are made across these disciplinary boundaries, right? Law and other things, right? Law and social context, or law and harm, right? Connections to criminal justice, right? And philosophy and business and social work. There's all, different kinds of connections there. See if I can advance the slides here. No, did I pull us out here?
That's okay. There we go. You should be good to go ahead and move forward.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for. Oh, okay. Yep. Lends the strengths of the four partners who are all in programs. I think the heart of this program is that you learn to think like a lawyer. Right? Skills in oral and written communication are kind of core to the program. Critical thinking, legal analysis. I mean, these are all things we teach to our JD students who go on to become lawyers. You can't practice law without a JD and without taking the bar, but sort of learning to think like a lawyer, and understanding what lawyers do, being able to talk to lawyers. A lot of jobs these days involve connections to lawyers, right? State and local government, business, human resources, immigration, engineering, social work. I mean, Kelsey was talking about starting your own business, right? Having a knowledge of law and of what lawyers do is really valuable. I'm still working the slides here. There we go. And then finally, differentiating yourself in the job market, right? This program will give you training, experience, and a credential to put on your resume that can help you get picked out from the pile of candidates, and that could be potentially valuable as well. There we go. Yeah, so that's all of it. And we recognize that different students are coming at the program for different ways. Some people are interested in law school, and this can prepare people for that. It can also give them the sense of whether they really are interested in law school or not. And at the same time, we recognize that a lot of people aren't interested in going to law school, but they want understanding of law to help them in whatever field they're going into, whether it's business or engineering or social work or anything of a number of different fields. All right. So I think with that, I pass it back to Nikki.
Yes, thank you, Professor Lund. So I want to actually, that's a good segue to our next slide here. Whoops. Yeah, I think there was one more thing there, and I think that actually Professor Lund mentioned this at the beginning of the discussion, is that Wayne State University is the only school in the state and the Midwest to offer an undergraduate program that is specifically in law. And what we mean by that is that it's the only program that mixes classes from their discipline along with actual law classes that are taught by law faculty in the law school. So that is something very unique that you will get with this program. So I want to talk a little bit about making a connection with the reasons why you may want to study law, the advantage to you by studying law, thinking like a lawyer, setting you apart. And that's really your personal brand. How many of you are familiar with your personal brand or had thought about it before? Has anybody heard the term personal brand? No? Okay. Well, let's go ahead and define it. First, it's how you promote yourself to outside individual. And it includes your unique combination of skills, your experiences, and personality. It's really what you want the world to be able to see about you. It's the telling of your story and how it reflects your conduct and your behavior, even your unspoken words, beliefs, and your attitude, the way that you approach things. And it's important because it's vital to you professionally. It's how you present yourself to current and potential employers. It's what makes you memorable. You stand out from everybody else, and you can demonstrate your knowledge and skills about your areas of expertise. And as Professor Lund mentioned earlier, having this minor really does set you apart. It really does attach itself nicely with your personal brand and allows you to go out there and market yourself. And it's not just a matter of the fact that you have a law and minor, but you can also market it through the reasons that you decided to pursue a law and minor, that you want to advocate for others, that you want to be aware of other perceptions and ways of thinking. You want to be challenged. You want to be, in a field that's dynamic. So it really does say a lot about you. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Professor Lund so that he can go ahead and talk to you about the requirements. There we go.
Yeah, so let me say that, again, there are three different law minors. There are three different paths to a law minor. One through the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, one through the business school, and one through the School of Social Work. The key thing is to understand that all three of them involve the same three courses in law. Okay, so required for all three of the minors, whether you do it through the business school or the social work school or class, are these three classes: Lex 5000, 5010, and 5020. So these three classes, putting up on the slide, Lex 5000 is law and social context, Lex 5010 is law and harm, and Lex 5020 is legal procedure. And we're lucky to have Noah, Professor Hall here, who's going to talk about his class, Lex 5000, in just a second. But those are the three courses that are required in law. You have descriptions of those courses. Lex 5000 and Lex 5010, they're more sort of substantive. Law and social context focuses on a couple of substantive areas, most particularly property. What does it mean to own something? What makes somebody a legal owner of something? What kinds of things can be owned? What kinds of things can't, and why? Whereas Lex 5010, law and harm, focuses on things like tort and criminal law, right? What is harm? What does the law recognize as harm? When can you sue people for harm? Lex 5020 is a little different. It's a little more procedural. It looks at the life cycle of a case, of a lawsuit, right? How a case is filed, how it ends with a judicial order, what happens along the way, things like negotiation and settlement. So those are the three classes in law. And then beyond that, the requirements vary from school to school. So if you do it in the business school, if you're a business major, there are 9 credits that are required apart from the 3 core courses in law. You have the business courses, BLW 2510, BLW 5190, and then 1 of 2 business electives. If you're a non-business major, you could also get the minor through the business school. The requirements are slightly different. You see them on the slide. There's also some requirements the business school has. If you do it through the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, you take the same 3 core courses in law, but now you take 9 credits from the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. There's 1 required class in political science, American legal systems and processes. You choose 1 out of 3 philosophy classes, and then you choose 1 out of a list of approved electives. So for all of these minors, by the way, there are 6 classes in total. 3 courses in law, and then 3 courses from the school that you're getting the minor from, whether it's the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, social work, or business. So that's the business program, and then this is the class program. And then finally, these are the requirements in the School of Social Work. Again, you have the same 3 core courses in law, and then you have 3 courses drawn from social work. SW 6500, which is social work in the law, SW 4710, which is social welfare in the United States, and then one of a number of electives. And it's true that some students already will have some of the requirements for the minor, right? If you major in business, you might well have taken some of these business courses already, which means instead of having to do 6 classes for the minor, you might have to do 5 or 4. Yeah, I think that is, I don't know if there's anything more to say about the program requirements. I know I'm going over them relatively fast. If you are interested in the minor, there are definitely things you want to look at. We're glad to talk about them with you. Nikki can talk to you. We also encourage you to go to your academic advisor. There's an academic advisor specializing in the minor at each of the schools. They're a good person to talk to as well. And Nikki will talk to you about that, I think, at the end of the presentation today.
Yeah. I would just chime in really quickly, just to add additional clarification. So as Professor Lund indicated, there are 3 different paths to the minor in law, and you have the option of pursuing at least 2 out of 3 of those paths. The School of Social Work, that minor is specific to those who have been admitted to the School of Social Work. However, the minor through the business school and the minor through class, you can pursue either of those paths regardless of what your major is. So if you decide that you want to go ahead, let's say that you're a criminal justice major and you want to pursue the minor through the business school because you wouldn't mind go ahead and taking 3 business courses along with the law courses, you are able to do that. You simply need to make sure that you're following the requirements that each school has.
Yeah. All right, with that, I think we're lucky to have Professor Noah Hall here to say a few words about the Lex 5000 class, the Law and Social Context class that he'll be teaching for us next fall. Professor Hall is a really wonderful professor at the law school. He's engaging, he's excited, he makes learning fun. He's won the Professor of the Year award countless times. The students love him. He's taught undergrads before at the University of Michigan. I have no doubt that everyone's going to love his class. And so, I don't know. I'll turn it over to you, Noah.
Awesome. Thanks, Professor Lund. And really thank all you guys for being involved in this and tuning in today and being interested in I think, this really great opportunity. I didn't want to jump in when you were asking about, why do a minor in law or what the benefits might be. I would kind of pile on 2 things that really, I think, drive how I try to teach the classes and what I hope the students are getting out of them. The first is that learning law helps you understand our society and whatever issues or aspects of society you're most concerned about. Law helps you understand how our society is organized. It's essentially the engineering design for why much of our society is the way it is. It's not just an explanation, but it's a design. And that leads to the second reason to study it, and what I really hope folks get out of it, which is that by understanding how law shapes our society, you become empowered to redesign it for the type of world or society or just life or business that you want for yourself. And by seeing law both as a way to understand everything from our political disputes to why a neighborhood looks the way it looks, allows you then to not just understand it and observe it, but the really fun thing about law is that it's ours and it's always there for the reshaping by anybody who essentially takes the time to learn a little bit about it and get involved. It's a very user-defined field. So that's our hope. That's my hope. When you learn a little bit of law, whether it's taking one class, ideally, I think it's doing the whole minor in law program, because no one of these classes really is going to give you a very complete picture. I think you're actually going to learn the most out of any one class if you took the whole sequence. But anyway, that's the goal. My course, the way my class fits in that is, in some ways, it's the starting point. We look at the oldest parts of our legal system, how the law essentially has shaped this idea of what we call property, meaning all things around us and persons, and how that has defined how we interact with each other, how we interact as neighbors, how we interact as a community. And it's really defined how government interacts with the private sector. And we're going to look at that in every way, from physically just walking around the campus. I don't want to jinx anything, but I'm hoping that we're going to be able to meet physically by the fall. And I have some really exciting walking tours from around the campus area planned. Whether we're able to do walking tours or not, I've got a lot of movies and films, because in some ways, there's a lot of words in law, and it's very important to learn to hone your verbal skills. But the law also plays out very physically and visually. And I think that's an important thing for students to get in another aspect of, and it's also another way, frankly, that a lot of folks are able to learn law is visually. And so that's something else I try to do in my class. As Professor Lund said, even though I've taught at the law school for, let's just say, a really, really long time, I've also spent the past few years teaching undergraduates on loan at University of Michigan. And the upshot, hopefully, for the Wayne State students, especially in the minor in law program, is I've maybe worked out some of the worst mistakes in the first year or two. And I think we're learning how to teach law to the type of students who are going to be taking these classes. So I'm excited. I hope folks consider enrolling. Lex 5000. Thanks.
Thank you, Professor Hall. We appreciate that. Your class does sound very exciting. As a matter of fact, I'm hoping I'll be able to sit in on that. So let's go ahead and talk about, if you are interested, what the next steps are. And that is, number one, you want to meet with your academic advisor to discuss your desire to pursue a minor in law and to revise your plan of work if necessary. And then the second part would be to formally declare your minor in law. And when you do that step, I just want to make sure that you pay attention, because as we mentioned earlier, there are 3 paths to the minor in law. And when you declare it, you will see one for social work, one for business, and one for arts and sciences. So just make sure that you are choosing the correct one. And last but certainly not least is that you enroll in courses. So this fall, we are going to be offering the LEX 5000 Law and Social Context with Professor Hall, as well as LEX 5010, which is Law and Harm. And then in the winter, we will offer the LEX 5020, which is Legal Procedure. So if you decide to pursue the minor, you can get all the LEX courses within one academic year. And if you have questions about the courses required for the unit itself, you'll want to talk with the academic advisor about the schedule for those classes. And the other thing that we want to mention is, if you're unsure about whether or not you want to pursue the minor, or if you just have a general curiosity about law, you are more than welcome to enroll in the LEX courses without having to pursue the minor. Although, you know, as Professor Hall mentioned earlier, there's definitely a benefit to taking all 3 of those courses to getting a well-rounded understanding of law itself. The other thing I would mention is that the LEX courses are open to individuals who have a junior or senior level status. So for those of you who are joining us who are freshmen or sophomores, know that those classes will be offered again in the future and you'll be able to take them. However, that doesn't preclude you from getting things underway to start planning for completing the requirements. If you are a sophomore and you will be a junior after the current semester, we can give you an override, or if there's an exceptional reasoning for something, we can go ahead and consider an override for that as well. So I think with that being said, it is now our turn to turn it over to you to ask any questions that you may have for Professors Lund, Hall, or myself. So I'm going to go ahead and open the floor. Any questions?
Hi, I'm not sure how, like, obviously you guys are in the law school, so you would know some of the answers, but could you briefly explain, like, the Law Start program?
The 3-in-3 program.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is entirely separate from the minor in law, and I'm not the person in charge of this. I don't know, Noah or Nikki might know more than I do. I don't know if Nikki, you know enough to talk about this. If not, I can.
It's a good question. I do not know enough about that particular program to answer your questions with 100% certainty.
I think I can take it. So the
Okay.
START program enables people to usually, undergrads have 4 years, and then law schools another 3 years. The Law Start program allows you to take 3 years of undergrad at Wayne, and then your first year of law school at the law school counts as your senior year at undergrad. So you trim a year off of the combination of undergrad and law school. You go from 7 years to 6 years. It's a program, you have to apply for it, you have to get admitted to the law school. If you're interested in that, you can find it on our website, but it's distinct from the minor in law.
And if you'd like, we can go ahead and get you a contact name and number for that, Hannah.
Absolutely.
We do have a question in our comment section from Nicole. Nicole's question is, do all of the LEX classes have to be taken in order? Excellent question. The answer is no, they do not. So you could take LEX 5020 before you took LEX 5000. You're welcome. Any other questions that we can answer? Again, we'll be sending you copies of the slide deck so that you can refer to them. And the contact information for Professors Lund and Hall, as well as myself, are located on those slides. So if something does come up later on, after you've had a moment to think about everything we've shared with you, please do not hesitate to reach out to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. It's been great to meet you. I know it's kind of a crazy time, and so we're really looking forward to seeing you in person at some point. And if you have any questions in advance of the fall semester, please do reach out to Nikki or myself. We're glad to answer questions. We're glad to make phone calls. We can tell you all about the program. I think it's something we're very excited about for a lot of good reasons. And I look forward to meeting each of you.
Absolutely. And a special thank you to Professor Hall.
No, thank you. I was just going to really encourage any students to shoot me emails between now and whenever the drop ad deadline is for fall classes. Please let me know if you're interested, if you got questions, if you got friends or classmates who always talk about interested in this stuff. Just feel free to send them in touch with me. There's no other way for us to really connect, unfortunately, between now and the fall. It's all going to be virtual. So please don't be bashful about emailing us over the summer. Thanks. And thanks for showing up today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So thank you, everybody, for coming, and we wish you the best, and we hope that you all stay healthy. All right. Bye-bye.